Oh, Tashi Delay. Good morning, everybody. Yesterday, we have discussed about the primary elements, and I also share some different perspective, different views from the Indian Nalanda masters and Indian classical textbook. So today I'm going to describe about the five sense faculties. Five sense faculties, they exist as a clear internal sense organ, and they are like a light, extremely translucent. And if I take an example of the eye sense faculties, eye sense faculty, it looks like a mirror. Mirror, all the images of color and shape can be reflected on the surface of the eye sense faculties, and it also has an ability to generate the visual consciousness. If I give you the definition of five sense faculties, the eye sense faculties is an internal sense organ that acts as the specific dominant conditions of eye consciousness, and ear sense faculties, which is an internal sense organ, and it is also the basis of ear consciousness. And nose sense faculties, it is an internal sense organ that acts as the specific dominant conditions of nasal consciousness. And tongue sense faculties, it is also an internal sense organ which is the basis of tongue consciousness. And body sense faculties, it is an internal sense organ which is the basis of body consciousness. So if we look at the structures and the shape of five sense faculties, the shape and structure of eye sense faculties, according to the Indian classical textbooks, it is described as a sarme meto. Sarme meto, actually this is not a common term in Tibetan language that we are not using regularly. Sarme meto, actually I have I don't know, actually meto is the meto means the flower, and I have never seen the sarme meto. I don't know which flower it is, but a friend of mine, he shared me a picture. I'm going to show this picture here. So this is the picture, so he told me this is the sarme meto. So if you look from the scientific perspective, if you look at the eye anatomy, so eye anatomy has many components: cornea, pupil, iris, lens. This is like a cornea, iris, and then pupil, and then lens. And there are so many things at the back side of eye organ, like a retina. Here, these are the retina, optic nerves, and optic discs. So there are so many components in eye, anatomies. If we zoom the retina here, if we zoom this part of retina, it becomes like this, and you can see the photoreceptors here. There are two types of photoreceptors. First is a cone cell. Cone cell is the responsible for color vision, and the rod cell is the responsible for dark visions. So if you look very carefully to these two types of receptors, they are quite similar to this, they are quite similar to this flower. So these receptors looks as same as the flowers, so one could say that there is a similarities between Indian Buddhist classical explanations and the scientific finding here. So if you look at the ear ear sense faculties and the structures and the shape of the ear sense faculties, it has mentioned in the textbook that it looks like the twisted knot of bridge, like that. So according to the scientific finding, if you look at the ear anatomy is divided into the three sections. First is the external ear. This is the external ear, and then here is the middle ear, then here is the internal ear. So if you look at the internal ear, then we can see a component which is called the cochlea. So cochlea is very similar what we have described in Nalanda classical scriptures, So there is a similarities between the two traditions. And if you look at the structures of the nose sense faculties, and according to the Indian classical textbooks, it has stated that it looks like the metal spoons that is turned upside down. So if you look from the scientific perspective, it has shown the nasal anatomy. If you look at the nose anatomy, then you can see the olfactory bulb here. So olfactory bulb is the nasal receptors. So this is quite similar as what we have seen in the Tibetan and Indian Nalanda's scriptures. So if you look at the structures and the shape of the tongue faculties, according to the Indian classical textbook, it has described it looks like the half moon. And if you look at the structures of the body faculties, it looks like the thin skins. So if you study the both traditions, like Indian classicals textbooks and the scientific finding, if you study both traditions, then it will definitely enhance your knowledge. At the same time, you can find out there are so many things you can do research, you can carry out so many research there. So if you do research, and I think that it will definitely make small contributions to enrich the knowledge on the topic of structures and shape of five senses. So that's all today, and if you have any question, then please send me an email. If you are using the WhatsApp, this is my number, and if you are watching my YouTube, then please subscribe my channel, and don't forget to hit the bell icon. And if you feel that whatever I have shared, the information, whatever I have taught, it's good, then please share as much as you can to those people who are truly interested to learn something about the Buddhist basic science and Buddhist basic epistemologies. That's all. Thank you. Have a good day.